The recording, please. Good evening, everybody. Guests and Toastmasters and role presenters. Everybody who's here, a very good evening to all of you on a Thursday evening. With just 15 days, in fact, lesser to go for the end of this term. It's a great privilege and honor for us to bring to you this special evening, this special session. Now, my role here right now is purely just do a call to order. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. During the course of this, we shall follow our rules that we apply in Toastmasters here in our district. Please remember, everything under the sky is open except 3 topics. We don't talk about religion. We stay away from politics. And we definitely do not veer towards sex during our talks in Toastmasters in District 105. Everything else, it's an open goal. Now, speaking of goals, all of us have goals when we started a journey. Whether in Toastmasters, whether at work, in our personal life, we all have goals. And all of us, of course, are looking to achieve those goals that we had set for ourselves as far as Toastmasters is concerned for this particular year within the next 2 weeks. And on that note, this evening has been set up to give us another tool to help achieve those goals this year and beyond as well. But of course, my role is not to tell you about the session. My role is not to give you inspiration or motivation. My role, in fact, is here to roll us into the session and bring onto stage the person who will deliver the opening address. Now, we all know her as someone who is very energetic, very persistent, and very organized. She is currently the Program Quality Director of District 105, and she is the District Director-elect of the soon-to-be-born, the newest district on the landscape, District 127. A professional working in Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates, she has a sphere of influence not just within Toastmasters in Dubai, but also across the region and across many parts of the globe. I think you all know who she is. If you don't, well, I'll be very, very surprised. Please put your hands together or your virtual applause on screen to bring our Program Quality Director, DTM, Deepa Surendran, to deliver the opening address, where she will definitely motivate and inspire all of us for this session. DTM Deepa, it's time for you to take over.
Thank you. Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Jamil, my fellow Program Quality Director. Actually, today it was like everything.
DTM Deepa, over to you to take over. Deepa,
hello?
Yeah, she started. Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay. So thank you very much. Today, actually, all the call to order, opening, vote of thanks, all the, the service was assigned to all the program quality directors. The incoming program quality director was supposed to do the call to order, but he was missing. He's yet to join the segment, but he has assigned his assistant program quality director or the current elected division G director to do the call to order. Toastmaster Dilip was supposed to do the call to order, but because lack of communication, this is a communication platform, but still we had communication gap today. And with that, acknowledgement to that we missed some communication over here. Let me start or wish all a very good evening to all of you. Thank you very much for joining over here, our presenters, and all my fellow Toastmasters, a very happy evening. During this term as Program Quality Director, we had many events as a part of Program Quality team. First was the Train the Trainer, that was in last June, that is 2022, June 26th, I believe. Then we had many sessions, many COTs, importance of leadership, contest management, judges training, chief judge training, parliamentarian segment, and many more segments, and many pathway segments as well. In any of the sessions, I never felt uncomfortable or less confident anytime, because always there was one more opportunity ahead of us to perfect ourselves or bring better trainers and better events to be organized. But now, when we are conducting the last segment, last session as program quality directors, I really feel that we could have organized our events better. Face-to-face, more face-to-face segments. And, I mean, our trainers, all the segments, all the sessions, whatever we conducted were the best, but little more to interact with our members, to all of you. That would have been a better thing to do, which we both missed, in my opinion. I'm not very sure how the other program quality director, Distinguished Toastmaster Jamil feels this, whether he feels the same or not. But for me, definitely that's the heavy emotion in my mind. That too, since we are parting to two different districts. We are getting reformed as District 105 and District 127, the yet to be born Chindu district. Anyway, moving on. It is what it is, right? So let's move on. Today we have 2 Yoodli sessions from District 105 members, the experts of Yoodli, and one special segment on pathways, an in-depth session by 2 distinguished pathway ambassadors from abroad. No matter how amazing the previous sessions were, I hope you still have energy for this particular one. 2 different things, Yoodli plus pathways, which will help us move forward in our communication channel, communication skill, as well as learning more about pathways as well. We have saved the best for the last. Just believe us, just trust us. Let's all sit, watch, learn, and also ask questions to the experts. That's all now. Thank you very much. And let me introduce the moderator for the next segment before handing the stage to or the screen to her. Distinguished Toastmaster Anuradha, a pillar of program quality team from Dubai and Northern Emirates side. She is relocated to India at this moment, but at the same time, she is still continuing serving the district, serving all the members in District 105 as the head of awards. A very close friend of mine and a close friend of many other Toastmasters and other good human beings in Dubai. I request all of you to put our hands together to welcome Distinguished Toastmaster Anuradha to take the segment, the Yoodli segment, forward. Over to you, Distinguished Toastmaster Anuradha. All the best.
Thank you so much, DTM Deepa Surendran, for that heartfelt introduction. And I definitely agree when you say that no matter how much we have done, we still feel that we have a lot more to do. In fact, do you know, there's something we always say in Hindi, ye dil mange more. Loosely translated for those who don't understand what I just said, it says that a heart keeps longing for more and more to come. And definitely, we will do our best to bring in new elements. We still have 2 weeks, isn't it? Anyways, moving on, a very good evening, fellow Toastmasters, district dignitaries, and my dear friends. I warmly welcome each one of you to this session of Introduction to Yoodli. To those of you who already know and have experienced what Yoodli is all about, I'm sure that this experience has been great and worth every penny. But to those who are new to Yoodli, this session will be an eye-opener, will give you a deep insight and understanding to how a new artificial intelligence program can augment one's experience on communication or even your presentation skills. Yoodli is an AI-enabled platform that provides feedback on its users' communication skills and artificial intelligence-powered speech coach to help you improve your communication skills, get judgment-free feedback on your filler words, pacing, eye contact, and much, much more. Recently, Toastmasters has partnered with Yoodli to give us all that enriching Toastmasters experience. And this evening, we have 2 sets of panelists to give you all a detailed presentation, or I would say an explanation on Yoodli's best practices. I will be moderating, or I'm honored to be moderating, the first set of panelists. And on board are Toastmaster Elna Tito, Toastmaster Inacio Rodriguez, and Toastmaster Abdul Jalil. To bring on our first panelist, who will help us understand how Yoodli can enhance our communication during job interviews, I'll take a quick moment. Before I call her on screen, I would like to give you all a brief introduction about this person. Toastmaster Elna Tito, a passionate Toastmaster for 7 years who just loves to talk. She has helped in various leadership positions by virtue of emotional blackmailing, as she puts it. Professionally, she works for a marketing company, doing glorified business all over the Gulf. Vitally, she puts it this way: she gets paid particularly for all the mental trauma and abuses that she goes through. So, ladies and gentlemen, without wasting an iota of time, please put your hands together and help me welcome Toastmaster Elna Tito on the screen, please. Toastmaster Elna Tito, over to you with the first presentation.
Thank you so much, DTM Anuradha, for that wonderful introduction, reading out every single word with the right pauses. Once again, good evening to District 105 and those wonderful Toastmasters who have joined from abroad. This is Toastmaster Elna once again, and here I am to put in more light on what Yoodli helps us in our professional life. Now, before I start sharing my screen, let me just give you some thoughts. Every time we get an interview letter from the HR, we all have that butterfly in our stomach. Whether it is our first interview, whether that is our 5th interview, whether that is our 10th interview, or let's say whether it's just a performance review meeting, we all have that butterflies. And then we pace back and forth in our homes, getting angry at our spouses and at family members, really worried, sleepless nights, wondering what kind of questions, how to tackle these questions. How do I respond to those questions? Is my communication better? And then we all as Toastmasters claim that we have really good communication skills. We enhance our communication skills. But how much of this can we actually use in our professional or personal life? So here I am to showcase some of the magical tips, I would say, to enhance not only your interview, but also it can be your professional meetings, it can be a performance review meeting, or it can also be a moment where you really want to tell somebody a really good thing. It can be somebody whom you really hate or somebody whom you really love. Give me a second. In the meanwhile, I'll just share my screen. I hope my screen is visible. Yes, can I have a thumbs up?
Yes.
Thank you so much. So, what do we need to ace our job interview? Because we have Google who gives us 1,999 questions on how to tackle a job interview. But we have reached in that stage where we don't need questions, we need answers. We also have the answers, but we just want to know whether the answers are right or not, whether it is delivered in a right manner or not. And that is where Toastmasters International has given us this golden genie out of the lamp called Yoodli. Now, how does Yoodli help? As Toastmaster Anuradha said, Yoodli is an AI-powered platform, or I would say an AI-powered robotic coding, which helps us analyze our speaking skills, which can be our pauses, our pace, our tone, the filler words, how confident we are in delivering, what style of communication we are using. Yoodli helps us with all that. Yoodli also gives us recommendations and improvement. At the moment, for those who don't know what Yoodli is, when we open the Toastmasters International platform and go to education, as we scroll down, there's something called Yoodli Speech Assistant. And when you click on that, a new tab opens where any Toastmaster member who has the membership ID and the password can record their speech, There are two options. It's a speech, it's a prepared speech, or a table topics. You can either record your speech and see the analysis, which is in the delivery part or the content part. Even in table topics, the AI platform Yoodli gives you a table topics and you can analyze on how you're attempting the table topics. Now, moving on to how we prepare ourselves for job interview. Well, that's just very easy. We all know the different scenarios what we have in job interviews. It's mostly the confidence level. Do we use filler words? What kind of questions? How do we tackle? How do we get nervous? All these. Do we use professional words? Do we use jargons? Do we use easy communicative words? These are the challenges which we face, and also the nationality of the interviewer. Is he a British guy? Is he an American guy? What kind of language can he understand? All these are the challenges which we face. So what Yoodli can do, I would say personally, is like 70% of help in attempting a job interview and acing it. Speech analysis. Every interview would ask you that particular first question, which is, tell me about yourself. And the interviewer actually gives you 2 minutes to tell me about yourself. When we prepare is we can create a small speech, which is not more than 200 words about ourselves, and do the speech analysis with Yoodli, where Yoodli can clearly mention how to use the words, were they filler words, was the pause right, did we say the appropriate ones, and give us feedback on it. Language usage. Majority of Toastmasters in this particular district are Indians, if I'm not mistaken. And we all Indians, because we are not natives, because we have issues with our language and vocabulary. This is where Yoodli comes in and plays a very important role, where Yoodli suggests to us professional jargons. They give us help in using proper usage of words. Unnecessary use of verbs and adverbs will be removed, and helps us have a refined statement, so that both either the person who is going for the interview or the interviewer doesn't lose time or doesn't lose in communication. Non-verbal communication evaluation is given, where usually the speech assistant tells how confident we were, what style of communication we use, and how well we can poise ourselves in a confident manner, especially during interview. Personalized feedback. Personally, at the moment, I haven't received a personalized feedback. Looks like Yoodli is not much impressed with my speeches, but there had been instances and case studies where Yoodli gives you personalized feedback on your speeches. Personalized feedback comes helpful for a person who is attempting for interviews for questions where we are sure we don't have answers to. Where do you see yourself in 5 years is one big question. I don't know where I see myself in the next 10 days. Questions like this, which is more into future about our goals, these questions put us in the limelight. So Yoodli can help us to ace these kind of questions. Lastly, because we're running short of time, I'm just running through. It's time and cost efficient, and it also helps us in building our confidence by acing it. One wise man once said that the best impromptu speech are the speeches which is prepared. So the more we prepare on the Yoodli platform and try to create scenarios to handle our job interviews, we cannot ace it. So even though we haven't received an HR letter for an interview, I would suggest Toastmasters. It need not be an interview scenario. It can be any kind of corporate scenario or a professional scenario, which we can try practicing on Yoodli. With that, I believe I have given or thrown some light on how to ace job interview. There are 2 more presentations, but I believe I have communicated my thoughts on this. And with that, I would like to hand over the stage to the panel moderator, DTM Anuradha Kamath. Over to you, DTM Anuradha.
Thank you so much. Can we have a round of applause for Toastmaster Elna? Any questions? I would now like to open the floor quickly. We can take 2 questions. If there is someone, you can unmute yourself and please ask her the questions. Meanwhile, Toastmaster Elna, I have received 2 questions on my inbox. The first one I would like to ask you is, before anyone can ask, I'm just going to ask you one quick question. It says when you actually said that there are, Yoodli gives you the real-time feedback on pace, tone, and filler words. Does it precisely point out the exact place where the improvement needs to be done? You can answer this on an yes or no basis also.
It's not a yes or no because I just tried it. So I just
Okay.
tried doing a table topics where it actually gives a script of what is it that you communicated. And there was a
Sure.
filler word as usual, which was underlined and said, okay, at this particular spot, I used a filler word. And then there's an option given that how I can remove the filler word and enhance that particular sentence. Now, at the end of the day, Yoodli is just a technology, so we cannot completely depend on Yoodli, but Yoodli being Yoodli, it's trying its 70% of effort to, to refine our sentences and enhance the script which we are recording on the platform.
All right. I think that's answered the question, and I hope the person who put forth the question is satisfied with what you've said. Thank you so much, Elna. Is there anyone who would like to ask any questions? You can just unmute yourself and quickly ask her the question. If not, I have one more question before I move on to the next panelist. Toastmaster Elna, the other question that I have received is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how user-friendly is Yoodli?
Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, I believe Yoodli is just 7.5 because for a member who is not a tech savvy, it would be a bit difficult and would be a bit weird to record his or her own speech on this platform. Though we are Zoom friendly and we are a Zoom oriented district and all, we still have that set of Toastmasters who believe I prefer the stage and I prefer my wife or my husband to analyze my speech. So I believe, Yoodli can rectify that particular weirdness. Thank you.
Okay,
Over to you,
okay.
Toastmaster Anuradha.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Elna. So, constraint of time, I would like to move on to our second panelist. And I hope there are no questions here. If at all there are any, you can again put them on the chat box and I shall take it up once we are done with the second panelist on board. Moving on, dear Toastmasters. Our second panelist on board is Toastmaster Ignacio Rodriguez, who will take us through an enriching experience of how Yoodli can help us improve on our presentation skills. Before I call him on screen, a quick intro on Toastmaster Ignacio. He's been a Toastmaster since 2018, a member of UAE Advanced Toastmaster Club in Dubai, and a valuable team member in the District 105 PQD team. On his professional front, he is an entrepreneur in logistics and supply chain. He enjoys learning by interacting with people. That's simply awesome. Toastmaster Ignacio. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a huge round of applause for Toastmaster Ignacio? Virtual applause, and here you go, Toastmaster Ignacio. The screen is all yours. Over to you.
Thank you so much, DTM Anu, for that wonderful introduction. And good evening, everyone. I would like to see everybody on a screen. Can you put on your screens, everybody? I want to see all of you all. How do you all look on the screen? Quickly. Okay, wonderful. I'm here today to talk about presentation. How do you take presentation on Yoodli? So what I've done is I've not, thanks to Elena, she kind of showed you how do you go to the Yoodli on the Toastmasters website. And I also did not try, I do a lot of presentations, in the corporate and, in social settings and all that. And we as Toastmasters also give a lot of speeches, right? For all of us. We sometimes give it to the wife and husband, like Elena mentioned. And I found it very innovative and very easy to use while I did that with Yoodli in front of me. And I've done one recording. Let's say I've taken a bit of an example. If we had to explain someone techniques about a great speech, and what would we normally say? I tried to do that in a presentation form, right? And you can actually do this in your corporate setting, in your personal setting, ladies club, gentlemen club, all of that, wherever you are associated with professionally as well. So I'm going to show you this example of how I recorded myself several times the same speech in different ways. and why and how would Yoodli help me to get off my fear. And I was so comfortable after 2 or 3 presentation. I'm going to show you the last recording that I did. Okay, here you go. Are you able to hear me? Everyone see my screen? Just someone say yes.
Yeah, we can see the screen.
Yes, Toastmaster Inishu.
Okay, great. So what I've done is I did a recording of a speech, and so I'm going to show you the screen. Give me a minute. So this is very practically how I did that recording. I just did it for 1 minute since we have a limitation on time. You can hear that now.
Jack and Jill went up the hill. Do you know why? Well, once upon a time during Christmas last year, Jack and Jill ate so much food that they were full. They went up the hill so that they could tumble down. And that is the reason they always enjoyed rolling down the hill. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming tonight to this wonderful presentation. These are the 3 techniques. Human minds are curious, open with curiosity. Tell them a story of how the whole episode happened. And bang, close it with a wonderful closure and an ending. These techniques will help you to be a great speaker and leave impact on all your listeners. Thank you.
So when you see this whole recording, and at the side, Yoodli within seconds gives you 2 or 3, basically 2 screens. You got the analytics and you get the comments, right? So you can see the presentation I did. You can also try it with your audio visuals. Let's say you got a PowerPoint presentation. It's on a TV or on a PowerPoint. It's on a overhead projector. You could try that by keeping your computer on and record it. Either you can do it with your mobile or you can do it with your laptop. So Yoodli gave me an analytics quickly on how many filler words I used, what was the percentage, what are the top key words I used repetitively, what are the weak words I used, and what could have been done better. So it gives me some of the non-inclusive stuffs as well. It also tells me how I delivered my speech or my presentation. Usually words per minute, what is called as WMP, should be around 124 to 170. So I was very conversational while I was presenting. And I can also see how many pauses I did while I was speaking. So I gave enough pauses. Like, you can see it's saying, nice job on giving audiences the bit of a pause so that they can digest of what I'm saying. All of these, did I smile during my presentation, and how many times I smiled, at what place I smiled, how loud was I, what was the average speed, all of those things. And then if I want to know, was I center stage, how was I, like, just for example, it's saying keep practicing, turn on your position, because I tend to be high on the screen and not right in the center for people to observe me. All of these insights. Then it also says what were the key highlights from my presentation. It says, okay, you were giving 3 techniques to the people who don't know about your speech: the open with curiosity, tell a story, and end with a bang. That were the 3 techniques. And Yoodli also suggests to me some questions to, it tries to stimulate my mind and ask me, what else could you have said in your presentation? So there are about 4 or 5 questions, 4 questions that it has asked. And it's asking me, how else could you have done better? And at the end, it also suggests what way I could have changed my presentation, what else I could have said. I started with Jack and Jill went up the hill. Do you know why? So it says, during last Christmas, Jack and Jill ate a lot of food, and it's suggesting another alternate way of how I could have started well the presentation, right? So these are the real technique of how you can use your presentation. And use it for your corporate presentation as well as your speeches. So you can be comfortable. What you could also do is use it to make sure before just going to your Toastmasters session or going to an office presentation, do that presentation to Yoodli on the laptop or your mobile and look at what could you have done better, right? And that's more or less how you can use Yoodli to do your presentations. I'm done with my presentation, and then over to DTM Anu.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Inashu. That was very precise and very, very to the point presentation that you explained. Would someone like to unmute and ask Toastmaster Inashu anything? Meanwhile, I have one question. I'll just wait for 1 or 2 seconds. If there is anyone who would like to unmute and ask Toastmaster Inashu any doubts or any clarification on his presentation. All right. Yes, I did hear a voice.
Yeah, it's me.
Yes, please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, my question is, can you Yoodli be used for something like a podcast, video podcast, or something which can stream online? I mean, like when we speak, words are coming in front. Can we do something creative with that, like graphics while we are speaking?
I haven't tried, but from the presentation like I just gave you, I was facing a camera. And usually when I do presentation, I have done this in my mind. For example, if you are going to do a proper podcast, what you could do, I could suggest is, share your screen into half, a Word file on the matter that you're going to say, because you're facing the camera, you can read the matter and also be looking at the camera of your laptop while you're doing the podcast recording. I mean, I can suggest that to you. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Toastmaster Inashu, I have 2 questions here from Toastmaster Sonal Agrawal. Her first question is, can speeches be saved for future reference?
Yes.
It's on Yoodli.
Yes. So the part I did not show while doing that, I can actually show. There is a library of all the recording that you do.
Okay.
So it stores all your, it stores all your speeches and presentations. And then you can go back and check what part that you want to improve or refer to. Yes, it does.
Okay. And her second part of the question is there any limit for number of speeches to be stored?
I am not very sure on the thing right now, but from what I had seen the founders presentation, they are trying to ensure that there would be a kind of a bandwidth later on. But at the moment, no, you can keep. They actually want more speeches to kind of analyze data. So I think you can put in a lot of data, no problem.
So there's no limit to the storage as of now, at least.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take one quick question since we are running short of time. Toastmaster Ronald Cremus. He has raised his hand. So if you could unmute yourself and ask Toastmaster Inashu your question, please.
Yes, then thank you very much for the very clear demo. My name is Ronald Cremus. I'm from the Netherlands, Toastmasters Club in the Netherlands. Also recently became an ambassador of Yoodli. And I couldn't help noticing that you were using app.yoodli.ai, which is the public version, which is different from the Toastmasters version. Actually, the Toastmasters version is running a little bit behind, like you've shown the comments. They are not yet in the Toastmasters version. Do you know when Toastmasters is going to update their version of Yoodli?
Yeah, it's likely even I noticed that, but I was using Yoodli much before it was rolled out to the Toastmasters. So that's why I had an account there. I will have to come back to that question to you.
Okay.
I do not have the answer at the moment. I think we can record that and come back to you.
Okay, thank you for your answer and thank you for the very clear demo.
Thank you, Toastmaster Toastmaster Inashu, can we take one quick question since we are running short of time? And those of the Toastmasters who have raised their hands, please put your questions on the chat box, and we'll make sure that Toastmaster Inashu addresses them. One quick question: does Yoodli help in content creation? This question is from Toastmaster Kitty Alexander.
I wouldn't say that. Okay, so what I've done in the past by using Yoodli is I've gone to ChatGPT, like for my business. I want to, like I know someone who I'm going to meet, so I asked ChatGPT to kind of give me a bit of words, like 200 words on this service that I'm going to, present to someone. I picked that up and then I put it on a Word document and I personalize it as I say on the speech. And then Yoodli is able to make sure that it reframes some of the things that I could have done better. So at the moment, it doesn't create any content because it's always wants you to say the content or you to present the content. So the answer is no, but you could do, if you are familiar with ChatGPT, ask ChatGPT to give you a bit of a content, pick that up, and then use it into your own, add on your flavor, and then try it on Yoodli. And then what happens is it gives you a bit of a, what not to say, what you could do better, like the demo I gave. Yeah. So.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ineshu. The three questions from Toastmaster Janamdas, Toastmaster Anup, and Toastmaster Sudha. Can I request the three of you to please send direct messages to Toastmaster Ineshu, and he will be able to solve your queries, or he will be able to clarify on your doubts. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Ineshu. A round of applause for Toastmaster Ineshu for handling that part very well. Thank you so much. Moving on, our third panelist on board is Toastmaster Abdul Jalil, who's going to tell us all about using Yoodli to help improve our speeches. A quick intro on Toastmaster Abdul Jalil. He's an ERP consultant who's been living in Dubai since 2020, a Toastmaster since December 2022, a pretty new Toastmaster, and a member of Dreams Toastmasters Club. He is here to enhance his presentation skills. So, ladies and gentlemen, with a huge round of applause, please help me welcome Toastmaster Abdul Jalil. Over to you, sir. The screen is all yours.
Thank you very much, DTM Anuradha. I hope everyone is hearing me. Am I audible? DTM Anuradha?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
Good evening, Toastmasters and my friends. Today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my experience that helped me to enhance my speech. That's from me, actually. So I started my Toastmaster journey in last December 2022. After attending a couple of meetings as guest, I joined Dreams Toastmasters Club in Dubai. Even before I deliver my icebreaker speech, I had to participate in a speech contest. That time, I was having no idea on a speech contest, especially on prepared speeches. I used to do presentations and demos in my professional life. And in all my meetings and presentations, I have a key problem on time management. I used to have a bunch of slides or notes unpresented in every meeting. That's my biggest issue. But after attending the 2 meetings in Toastmasters, I understood that timing is the key in Toastmasters. If there is, if you don't follow the time, you are disqualified. So I was really having a worry that I was able to do this properly or not. I was searching for some tools to help me. I was using stopwatches, some other tools. Directly, when on Toastmasters website, I found a tool, Yoodli. Then I directly signed up and I went to the tool and I click practice to, practice my speech. So even before you start your recording, it will ask you how much time you are going to record. That means that point itself, that is going to help me anyway, because my problem is time management, and it is going to ask me, okay, 5 minutes. Okay. If you set 5 minutes, that your speech is recording for 5 minutes. But it will not stop you that moment. It will give you an indication that you passed the time. So that was quite interesting for me. I recorded the speech. Directly after the speech, more surprisingly, I got the full transcript of the speech. That was really nice. Even, more than that, my transcript is separated into different stretches. That means different parts of my speech separated with timestamp. Each stretch of your speech has a timestamp, and this timestamp is a link. Actually, it's not just written, at 2 minutes, 3 minutes. You can see the timestamps, and this is a link. If you click on it, it will go to that part of your speech. And this will give you an idea that, okay, at the 2nd minute of your speech, you were talking about this point. At the 4th minute of the speech, you were talking about this point. That means this is going to give you an idea that if you are not going to cover a particular topic on the 2nd minute, you are not going to finish your content. So it was really amazing for me to manage the time for my speech. I respect Yoodli for that. And then after that, the next problem that I had is my vocabulary. I used to have hundreds of repetitions in my vocabulary, in my presentations and speeches. So that's where the Yoodli's analysis feature comes to picture. Yoodli gives you an instant analysis on 2 aspects. One is word choice, and the other one is delivery. On the word choice, it will give you different repetitive words, weak words, top words. You might see in the previous presentation that panel on the right side of the recording, it will give you this. So it was really going to help me, because I see my repetitions. This word was repeating this much times. The count is given, and also there is a play button. You can see on the left side of each word. If you click on that, it will go to the first instance of that word in your speech, and all the remaining occurrences will be highlighted in your transcript. Really amazing. And there are some other statistics also you can see there. And the other issue that I had in all my presentations was eye contact. I was always losing the customers, feedback, because I used to present for our customers. So I used to, lack in collecting the customers' feedback on their, on their faces. So I used to lose eye contacts. So that was one of the key for me to identify my eye contact. How's my eye contact? And Toastmasters here, I just want to ask you, did any evaluator told you this much was your eye contact? I don't think so. They gave you that, okay, you were having a lack of eye contact. That's it. So if you want to improve it, you need to get some, statistics. So it was giving me initially 20%, and I practiced, and I was able to improve like 75% after like 5 or 6, practice sessions. So in conclusion, what I'm trying to say is that I was having these 3 major issues. The one is the time management, the second one is the vocabulary, and the third one is the eye contact. And I used Yoodli to cover this, and it was an amazing experience for me. So I hope this will help you too. Thank you very much. And over to you, DTM Anuradha.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Abdul Jalil. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a huge round of applause for Toastmaster Abdul Jalil, please? Any questions? I'm now opening the floor to receive questions on how we can improve our speeches using Yoodli. I have one question for you, Toastmaster Abdul. You mentioned Yoodli helped you improve eye contact. Is there any other physical parameters that Yoodli can suggest? You can keep it very short.
Yeah, actually, on the delivery part of the analysis, there are several aspects that it is measuring. Yoodli is measuring. Eye contact is one of them that I was interested in. There were something like, for example, pace of your speech, how much time you smile, even, it will give you how you were presenting it, and smiles, poses, and pace of your speech, and centering of in the screen. So these all parameters will be given in the delivery part of your on the Yoodli analysis.
Oh,
I
that's
hope this,
absolutely. You mean to say that it tells you exactly to smile only for this amount of time? Is it?
Yes.
Any other questions? I think they can send it to you directly, Toastmaster Abdul.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep, since we are running a bit short of time.
Okay.
All right. So we have come to the end of the first set of panelists. I will now be handing over the stage for the session called Navigating the Depth of Pathway. And to take over the session, I would like to call in a person who I have got, or I've been very honored to interact with for some time, because he was a team member in the District 105 PQD team as well, the Assistant Division J Director and the incoming Division J Director-elect. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Toastmaster Dilip onto the screen. Toastmaster Dilip, the screen is all yours. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Anuradha. So, my dear fellow Toastmasters and dignitaries, welcome you all to the second part of today's session, Navigating the Depth of Pathways. Today, this is our fourth season in our Pathway series organized by District Program Quality Team. And it is our District 105's proud moment to present you in front of you two vibrant, distinguished Toastmasters faces who have made a remarkable journey and contributions to Toastmasters fraternity. Allow me to present the dynamic duo of Frank Storey and Karen Storey. I have the privilege to read their bio, and it's amazing, my dear fellow Toastmasters. Frank Storey and Karen Storey started Toastmasters journey many years ago. Frank started in 1986 and Karen started in 1989. You know one thing? Both of them received the most coveted Toastmasters award, the highest award in Toastmasters, Presidential Citation Award. Karen served several district positions, including public relations and district treasurer. On the other hand, Frank Storey served as a lieutenant governor for education and training, and also as the district governor. You know the interesting part? Both of them met in 1991 and were married in 1997. Karen today is a professional trainer in Johns Hopkins University, and Frank was serving as a field engineer for fighter planes for 31 years. Toastmasters, all these says how they say lead, and definitely a role model for all of us to heed. So now, with 105 PQD team and entire Toastmaster over here, let me welcome the dynamic duo. And first, I would like to invite Distinguished Toastmasters, Karen Storey. Over to you, Distinguished Toastmaster Karen.
Thank you so much for your introduction. I am so excited to be here today. I noticed you said good evening when you started, so I'm going to say for my time zone, good afternoon. I'm Karen Storey, and I'm here today with my husband. We'll do our presentation in two parts. I'm going to turn it over to Frank, and he's going to give you an overview of pathways. He's going to give you the big picture, drill it all the way down to a project. Then he'll turn it back over to me. We'll cross our fingers and hope the internet's working, and we'll go live and go into Basecamp, and I'll show you some live demonstrations of the Basecamp and the pathways. With that, if you have questions, put them in chat, because while Frank is speaking, I can monitor the chat and answer any questions. And the same when I'm speaking, he'll monitor the chat and answer any questions. But of course, we'll allow questions at the end. So, Frank Storey, you are up. The stage is all yours.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Welcome, fellow Toastmasters, and perhaps some future Toastmasters. And I also want to welcome Ronald from the Netherlands. And the reason I say that is one of my assignments in the 31 years of working on fighter planes was at the Royal Dutch Air Force Base in Leeuwarden, northern part of the Netherlands. So today I'm going to be sharing my pathway, one of the pages on my Pathways website. And I'm going to give you the basic structure of pathways. I'm going to show you a chart that is all you're going to need to know to learn exactly how pathways is constructed, is comprised. So first I want to use an analogy. Back when I went to university, back in 1966 to 1970, when I first started, I met with my guidance counselor, and that person helped me choose the path that I wanted to pursue at university, what we called our major. Mine happened to be an electrical engineer. In year one, my freshman year, everybody had to take the same courses: basic English, basic history, basic math, that kind of thing. Then as you progressed to year 2, 3, 4, 5, you took more and more courses related to the major you had chosen. Well, that's very analogous to pathways. Instead of meeting with a counselor, you meet with the assessment. There's an online tutorial that helps you choose your path. We call that an assessment. Once you get a path, no matter which path you choose, you start on level 1, and all the projects are identical in level 1. Why? Because they're basic building blocks for Toastmasters. They're all fundamental projects that you need to know and understand. For example, writing a speech with a purpose. You don't just do that in level 1. Every speech you write in Toastmasters should have a purpose, and you should always use vocal variety and body language. So that's why every path starts with the basic projects that make up level 1. Now, normally we have 90 minutes to cover the material we're going to cover today in 40. So I'm going to talk a little faster. If I talk too fast, you just chat with Karen and tell him to slow down, or you can ask a question. So right now we have 11 paths that we can choose from. Pathways is the name of the overall educational program. Your individual choice is called a path. It's not a pathway, it's a path. And here are the 11 paths currently available. I'm not going to talk about each one, I'm just going to show you. And then I'm going to talk about several words that you will hear almost every meeting. I've already mentioned some of these. Assessment, you won't hear that every meeting, but you'll hear it often. That's the online tutorial that helps you choose your path. You answer a bunch of questions. At the end, it selects 2 or 3 paths for you to choose from. That says, based on your responses, these are the paths you should take. You don't have to take them. It's just recommendation. Write them down, because once you close out, they disappear. Another term you'll hear pretty often is Basecamp. We have online right now over 100 people online. Every one of those individuals has their own individual Basecamp. So all 350,000 people in Toastmasters has an individual Basecamp. That's where everything you do in Pathways is stored. Every time you select a project, every time you, a path, every time you complete a level, complete a path or whatever, is stored in your base camp. So most clubs have 20 to 30 members. That means 20 to 30 base camp areas. So there needs to be somebody to oversee the base camp, and we call those base camp managers. The base camp managers are pre-selected by Toastmasters International, pre-assigned the president, the vice president, education, and the secretary. Your club can designate whoever you want to be the main base camp manager. Normally, it's the vice president, education, because that is the person who's normally in charge of helping you pursue your education, your goals. But that's up to your club. The navigator is just an online tutorial to help you navigate the website, help you navigate pathways, help you navigate through the meeting roles, stuff like that. Go and look at it sometime you have a chance. Right now, I'm going to mention the 3 terms you'll hear every meeting. Let me just show you this diagram while I talk about it. The 3 terms you'll hear every meeting is your path. You'll also hear the level, and you'll hear the project. Why? Because normally when you introduce, it's going to be like this. Here's Karen Storey. She's doing the visionary communication path, level 4 project, whatever. And then they'll give the title. So you'll hear those 3 terms, and you should refer in your mind to this diagram. So this is the path up here. You know what path they're working on, you know what level they're working on, and you know what project they're working on. So if you try to explain pathways to somebody else, a new member, maybe you're mentoring them, this is the diagram you should have in your mind. Don't try to explain the whole thing, all about Basecamp, all about launching projects, all about the tutorials that are available, just the basic outline here. Choose your path, start on level 1, and move through the 5 levels. We get the question often, do you have to finish 1 level before you can go to the next level? The answer is no, but you should, especially if it's the first time through. Why? Because the levels are built on the previous projects. My wife is on path number 6 or 7. That means she's done these quite a few times, so it's okay for her to skip around because you've already got the foundation. So these are the terms. Paths. That's one of the 11 paths I showed you. Levels, they have names. For example, when you start on level 1, you're trying to master the fundamentals. Then you work all the way up to your level 5, where you're going to demonstrate your expertise in this path. Projects. We often confuse projects with speeches. Not every project is a speech. Most projects are speeches, but there are some exceptions. For example, if you look at this project right here, you see this project? It consists of several parts. It's one project, but you must give one speech and be evaluated. Then you repeat that speech using the evaluation you received previously to improve the speech. Or you could give another speech and use the feedback you received on the first speech to improve it. And then you evaluate somebody, and you're evaluated by how well you did your evaluation. 1 speech, 2 speeches, 1 evaluation. That's 1 project. So it's not a speech. Another example is when you do table topics, you could find a project called active listening and use table topics as meeting that project. So when you're doing table topics, you're not doing a speech. If you create a blog or a podcast, those are not speeches. Or if you moderate a panel, that's not a speech. But I would say maybe 85 or 90% of the projects are speeches. So a little quick summary right here. It says currently there are these 11 paths available to you. And no matter which path you choose, you have to complete 14 or 15 projects spread out over 5 levels. Let's look here. This is what I call the O pathways. I'll explain that in a second. Look here. You count the projects. So there's 3 here, 3 here is 6, 3 here is 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 projects. If you go to the new pathways, you count them up, there's going to be 15 projects. The difference is on October 27th, 2021, they decided to eliminate one of the projects here called Researching and Presenting and add in these 2 new projects, Writing a Speech and Introduction to Body Language. And they moved Researching to level 3 elective. You don't have to remember that. If you open your base camp and open your path, it's already in there. You don't have to worry about it. Okay. There's a lot. I gave you a lot of information. Now, I created this chart here because you're not able to see all the projects that are available to you. There are 65 different projects. It would be nice to see them before you paid your $20. So I made this chart. It allows you to see every single project and their evaluation form. There are 65 projects and there are 65 unique evaluation forms. Every project has its own evaluation form. There's a number of reasons you would want to see all the projects. The most obvious is you would like to see what projects are going to be in the new path you choose or the second or third path you choose. Right now, if you do the assessment and just pick the project they suggest, you're buying an unknown path. I mean, you know the name and you know the names of the project, but you don't have any details before you pay your $20. So years ago, I developed this matrix where you're allowed to see every project. Another reason you will want to do it, once you pick your path, I recommend you go and look at every project. It's only going to take you 30 seconds per project. I'll show you in a second. Why would you want to look at every project? You want to know what's in your path, what's coming up in the future. So at work or church or your community, a project might come up and you can say, oh, I know that's in my path. So I'm going to go and review it and get ready. You don't want to do the project and then find out later you could have gotten credit as a project in your path. So let me just quickly explain this chart. There are 2 of these charts. This is the chart for the new version. You can see right here. This chart below is post October 27th. So this is the new version. If you want to see the pre-October 27th, you click this link. So in the pre-October 27th, you would see this path scenario, which just has these 3 projects. Okay, so most of you are probably in the current pathways. There's not that much difference except level 1. Also note right here, it says if you see anything highlighted in yellow, it is going to be a required project. Another thing you should know about this chart is every geographic figure is clickable, the circles and the rectangles. I'm not going to click on all of them, maybe only going to click on a couple of them. And these icons, these circular icons here, represent the path you are working on, and the name of it is right below it. So this thing looks like a D, it's dynamic leadership. So if you click here on the circle or the rectangle, it'll go back to the Toastmasters website and show you their layout. So here's dynamic leadership, a description, and here's a horizontal version of the levels. Here's all the projects. If they're in gray, they're required. If you want to see the electives, you click on the red button. So that's the way that's the way you can see all the projects, both on my website and on their website. If you want to know the definition of mastering fundamentals, you click here. I'm not going to click here. You'll see the TI definition, the Toastmasters International definition, which you cannot find on the website. All right, look here. Yellow, what does that mean? It's a required project. So level 1, everything is required. And look at it closely. Everyone is identical. Because I mentioned on level 1, no matter which path you choose, you have to do the same building block project, the base projects, the fundamental foundational projects. The biggest complaint we hear is, why do I have to repeat an icebreaker or writing a speech with a purpose when I do path number 2 or number 3 or number 10. The simple reason is that's just the way it is. But a better reason is, okay, now you're an experienced Toastmaster. You can improve on all of these projects, plus you can serve as a better example for people in your club. Why you would complain about repeating an icebreaker, I don't know, because I'm sure nobody online right now could encapsulate their whole life in a 4 to 6 minute speech. I'm sure you could do 10 or 20 minutes. So when you repeat the icebreaker, do something different, be more creative. Level 2, the definition is behind the blue rectangles. You can click on that. Yeah, look, level 2, everything is in yellow. What does that mean? Required. If you look closely, only one project is required in every path. That's Introduction to Toastmaster Mentoring. The other projects required, but they might vary from path to path. Like you might do leadership style one time in one path and communication style on another path, and then there are some minor differences. It doesn't really matter. Once you choose a path, those are the projects you're supposed to take. Okay. Increasing knowledge is level 3. Okay. Increasing knowledge is level 3. Look, you get one yellow project that's required, and you notice they're all different. Because now all your required projects are going to be path specific. Only for your path. Then you choose 2 electives. Doesn't matter what the electives are, you can, because they're electives. And you can see they're mostly the same. Doesn't matter. Okay. Level 4. Yellow means they're required. You look at level 4, they're all different. Then you choose one more project, only one elective, because they're a little bit more difficult. Then you go to level 5. You look at level 5, yellow, required. But in this case, they're not all different, but most of them are different because a couple paths require you to take a high performance leadership project. And then the last path is on the bottom of my chart because it's the project that you have to do last. Karen's going to show you when you go into your path, you can see all the projects, and all the projects are launchable except this one. There will be no button. You have to finish all the projects prior to this one, either 13 or 14 projects. I'm not going to talk about this, but this is what Basecamp looks like, and you can come back to it. Every one of these white areas is clickable. Because I'm running short on time, I'm going to return control to Karen. But before I do, I just want you to remember to look at the big matrix I showed you, because you can see every project. So before you choose your first path, even though you've done the assessment, or before you choose a second or third, fourth, fifth path, go and review the required projects. Over to you, Karen.
Well, thank you, Frank. And if you could please put the link back in chat. Some people were having trouble assessing the link. So if you could just do that, please. And if people are still having trouble with the link, if you could put your email in chat, I will follow up this meeting and send you the link separately. Because thank you, Frank, for that. That was awesome. So now we're going to go online with Toastmasters International and see some of the things that Frank was talking about. So I've already taken the moment to log in. And I say this to my members regularly. You should be coming to Toastmasters International website. They do updates regularly. They put new information on. So before I go into Basecamp, I just want to review the new home page real quickly. So if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see order activity and downloads. Now, I would show you the order activity, but my husband is online right now, so no need to show him how I shop. If you keep scrolling up, you'll see Yoodli that we just had a big session on from the 3 members talking about that. This is the way you can access that from your Toastmasters International homepage. The Distinguished Performance Reports, I got a chance to look up District 105. Congratulations on all that you're doing in the world. Rolling up, I'm an officer, I'm a president of a club. Actually, I'm a president of a Presidential Distinguished Club. We have achieved 9 of our 10 goals. So this is here because I'm an officer. If you're not an officer in your club, you're not going to have this Leadership Central tabs. Just keep scrolling up, and this is where we're going to start our demonstration. The achievement board is where it records all your achievements, your levels, your paths. If you're a legacy member, it's where your competent communicator, competent leader awards are stored. We're going to start at the Learning Hub. Now, don't panic. It says choose path $20. It's because I'm an old-time member, and every time I buy a path, I have to pay $20. If you're a new member, that's included in your membership, your first path. Let's just go in here. Check your language. You know, we have a bunch of different languages. Decide you want digital resource. Printed materials are going away. So eventually, probably in the next month, this will be your only alternative. You can go right in and select your path, or you can take the assessment. Frank mentioned this as your counsel on what paths might be best for you. Just going to show you this real quick. I'm not going to go through the whole, all the questions. I just want you to get you a feel. You'll pick why you joined Toastmasters, and then it gives you what I think are like situational questions. Learning about blank will help me significantly in my personal and professional life. I'd like to get involved in group discussions. And it goes through a series. It's really maybe about 15 to 20 questions, depending on why you joined Toastmasters. And it will recommend several paths. Now, this is my advice, because Frank and I have been ambassadors for Pathways since it came to our district in November 2017. And some of the saddest phone calls we get are members that are in a path. They're in the level 3, level 4, and they get to a project, and it's the required project in their path, and they don't want to do it. And they'll call and they'll say, Karen, you know, I don't want to do this, or I can't do it. It's beyond what I can accomplish. Can I transfer what I've already done to another path? And the answer is no. You'll always have that path, but you have to start. If you decide you don't want to do those required projects in your path, you will select another path and you will start with your icebreaker. So my advice is take that link that Frank provided you and go look at what's required in your path. Now, he told you all is equal on level 1. So when we're at level 1, I don't even spend, when I'm mentoring a new member, and I just had this conversation 2 days ago with a new member, level 1 is level 1. I don't care what path you select, level 1 is the same. But I like to start with level 2 because there's some subtle differences in level 2. But where I really spend time with my new member is looking at the required projects in level 3 and level 4 and level 5. Why? Because I don't want my member to get to that level 3 and say, wow, I have no desire to do that. And also, Frank mentioned, by being educated in what's coming, what's the future of your path that you selected, you might have opportunities that come along where you could say, hey, wow, I have a project coming up that would suit this request from my community or from my profession. So knowing knowledge is power. So for me, now, I don't usually review the electives because they're electives. You can go in and look at them.
Karen,
But yes.
Can you open one of those? I didn't get to open one of those.
Sure. Let me
show
show
what's about when you click on this.
So this is, again, I know that I sound like I'm promoting my husband, but this is awesome because this is actually the descriptions from Toastmasters. So when you click on his button, it's going to take you to Toastmasters International to their explanation of the project. So this project is a level 3 project, negotiate the best outcome. It tells you the purpose, gives you an overview, and then tells you what's included in the project. What I am amazed at is I've met with new members and I've gotten to these level 3, level 4, level 5. And I've had new members say to me, Karen, that would be so hard for me to do. That's the path I'm going to select. I've also had new members say, man, that would be so hard to do. I'm not selecting that path. That's why I think knowledge is power. So for me, it's one of those things that I've just gotten to my protocol when I have a new member. I go through the assessment with them, and then I come in and I look at the 2 or 3 paths that have been selected from Toastmasters and really do a deep dive in those requirements. All right, let's get back here. Let's get back to Toastmasters International. Let's go back to my home page. And now let's go into Basecamp. You'll see by looking at my introduction to Basecamp, I'm in 2 clubs. I'm also an officer. I'm president, so it makes me a Basecamp manager. Your president, your vice president education, and your secretary are Basecamp managers in your club. Let's just go into Northrop Grumman. I'm going to just again scroll down to the bottom and start at the bottom. So this is my documents. I've been a longtime member of Toastmasters. I joined in 1989. I cannot tell you where my manuals are. I can't tell you where my evaluations are until we got Pathways, because now I have a place that I can store my evaluations and comments. So now you have a place where you can, I usually ask my evaluator to send me my evaluation through an email. I'm sure you could probably do this through an app or something else, but I do it through email. And then I upload my evaluations to my documents. My badges, just real quick, because if you were with me live, you'd be going, ooh, that's amazing. So I have completed 4 paths. I'm in the process of completing 2 more, and then I'm starting a 7th. And anytime you complete all of those 5 levels, plus do you reflect on the path, you become proficient. So when you activate a path, you'll get a badge. And when you do all the levels, you'll get a proficient. And this is something I think is pretty cool. You can send badges to members. If you have a member in this club, maybe the person that put together the Yoodli and the stories coming in, maybe after this meeting, send them a badge and say, hey, thank you for, setting that up. You're an inspiration. There's badges you can send to members. And for me, the automatic ones I get from Toastmasters International, I appreciate. But the ones I get from members, I just go nuts over. I think that's the greatest ever. My feedback, again, through Basecamp, you can provide members feedback. So after your meeting, you can ask the members, like I'm giving a presentation for my profession. I'd like everybody's feedback, not just my one evaluator. That's a place that you can actually accommodate that request. Scrolling down, I will go to the left side. I have not clicked on this, and it's really killing me because it's curiosity. This is, again, why I want you to come to Toastmasters International website on a regular basis. They will put in your supplemental reading articles that appear in the Toastmaster magazine that, based on the paths that you're selecting, might be interesting to you. Now, the reason I haven't clicked on it is once I click on it, it's going to move to a different spot. This is new. I've not touched it, and it will be maybe 1, 2, 3 articles that Toastmasters International thinks are relevant to me. These are just paths and learning, tutorials and resources. Frank mentioned we normally have 90 minutes. We're cut down to 40 minutes, but let me tell you, you don't have to worry about that, because under the tutorials and resources tab inside Basecamp, you can click on that. And let's say you say, wow, Karen, I really would like to send somebody a badge, but you didn't really tell me how to. You can put the word badge in here, and it's going to give you a tutorial on how to send badges. It'll either give you a PDF file to read or a video to watch. And you can just, and I find the search is simple. Put, how to send a badge, just put badge, and it will come up with all that. Feedback, you can put evaluations. Speech evaluation forms, all 65 project speech evaluation forms are here. They're inside your Basecamp. They're also on Frank's website. So he has all the evaluation forms. And I really just want to click back here real quick. Going back to this, Frank has all the evaluation forms are all attached in his website. So that's another resource for you. Let's really start our tour with paths and learning. There's a couple of things I want to show you real quick. First off, what did it look like prior to the Toastmasters International making a change in level 1? This is what level 1 used to look like. So for anybody that have a path that they've been working on, this is what your level 1 looks like. Let's go to path completion. You'll see how this is activatable. It's because I've completed all 5 of those levels. Now I'm going to show you really quick. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let me show you a path I have not done all. So presentation mastery is a path that you see I've got a couple projects to do. And when you go this path completion, see how there's no button here? That's because I have not completed all of the other five levels completely. So once I complete all those 5 levels, get my check marks, it'll say path completion. This will become activatable as it is in my path that I've completed all that. All right, now I don't know who in my audience is what I consider legacy members, but a legacy member is a member that joined prior to Pathways, and we worked from manuals. One of the things that I really love about Pathways is the fact that they are at Toastmasters International looking to develop new paths. So if you have an idea of a path, suggest it to them. That's how we got engaging in humor. It was some member said, what about a path for that? And they created one. So that's my advice. If you have an idea for a path, send it to Toastmasters International. But what I do like about Toastmasters is that they did listen to the legacy members. So the legacy members can, hey, what about? And when they redid level 1, they incorporated more about the competent communicator manual, which is a legacy program, into your paths. So let's launch this icebreaker. I mentioned I joined in 1989. In 1989, when I joined, the vice president of education handed me a manual, said you give a 4 to 6 minute speech about yourself, and that's how you begin. Now, I'm going to tell you what is really exciting to me about Toastmasters International in this new path that they have put out is the Icebreaker Project is now a learning tool. It's not just give a 4 to 6 minute speech about yourself. This project will teach the member how to write a speech, how to create an opening or transition, what points to cover, how to close that speech. It will teach the member how to practice that speech. They'll give you tips and techniques on how to practice. It'll help you deliver that speech. So it's going to help you with your body language and your vocal variety. It's going to tell you how to accept the evaluation. So this is no longer just when a new member joins, you give 4 to 6 minutes. No, it's about launching this project and learning the basis of writing and delivering a speech. And this project will help you in all the other projects because it's going to teach you that fundamental skill of, again, writing, delivering, and getting your evaluation. All of your projects start with, I always go to my assignment first and learn what this. So for the icebreaker, it's to write and deliver a speech about any topic to introduce yourself to the club. Your speech may be humorous, informational, or any other style that agrees, or any style that appeals to you. The next thing you're going to do is do a before assessment. And I like to think about this as like a rhythm. Like I go and I see what my assignment is. And some of the assignments are easy, like give a speech at the club. Some of them require some effort. There's a project on emotional intelligence that for 6 weeks, you have to really record your emotions and what your triggers are. And then you give a speech about that. So there are some projects that are going to require you to do something and then come back to the club to give the speech. But the icebreaker, it's about learning those fundamental skills of writing and delivering the speech and receiving the evaluation. So all of your projects, you go to that assignment, find out what it is, and then you'll do a before assessment every time. Once you're done, you do the project. So for the icebreaker, you do the before assessment, you go through it has videos to watch showing you people that have done their icebreaker. It has project checklist to look at that'll give you some format in writing a speech. It's got just some, project information. After you go and you've done their project, you've given your speech, you come back and you do the after assessment. Now, why I seem to stress that is because if you want to get your little check marks, let me go back to a path that I've got check marks. I haven't started that, but it's a path I just purchased. You'll see check marks. That's because I've done the before assessment, finished the project, whatever it requires, whether it's a 4 to 6 minute speech about myself or working 6 months as a volunteer as a leader. That's the project. I'll finish the project. I do that after assessment, and then I get my check mark. Once you get all your check marks is how you're going to complete your project. Your path, sorry. All right, let's just one last thing, and then I'll open it up for questions. Here, right here, think about Basecamp and Toastmasters International as 2 separate websites, and this is how you can toggle between them. And this takes us back. Okay. I know that was fast and furious. Do I have any questions, Frank, in chat that I need to address? No. Otherwise, we can open up. Oh, great. What questions do you all have? You can unmute yourself or raise your hand. and we'll be happy to answer any questions you have. All right, I'm going to say Sue Angel, Jacob.
Hi.
How'd I do on the name? Not good.
One second. Hi, I'm Sumangla.
Sukumandla.
Yeah, Sumangla Jacob. Yeah.
Okay. I tried. I knew it as soon as it was rolling out of my mouth. That's not the way
I
you pronounce it.
understand it's a bit difficult. I understand. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
what
my
question?
question is that for the evaluations to complete a level, doesn't somebody have other than yourself put a thing that you completed this level and then it is completed, or it's self done? Like, how is it?
It's a couple steps. So when you complete all your projects, you'll have it'll say submit. So you'll actually submit it to your vice president, education secretary, or president, either one of them, and they do ultimately approve the level completion. So there is a step where somebody, not you, looks at and says, yes, Karen did complete all the projects in level 1 here. And then that comes back and it changes to say, instead of submit, it'll say print certificate. So there is a part of the club that needs to approve your path, your level completion.
Every level.
Every level, not every project, every level. So make me that clear. So if in level 1, there's 4 projects, I don't need approval for every one of my project completions, but when I complete that level is when the VPE president or secretary needs to approve that level completion.
And I have to send a request for him to approve it. I have to
You do.
initiate it.
You do have to initiate. I know I'm
And
running out of time, but I'm listening to your question. I'm going to get back to show you
all
where that is.
evaluation forms have to be uploaded anywhere, or there is no need for
No,
that?
they don't have to be. That's sort of a preference.
Okay, just for our own sake.
Correct. I'll share this. My husband's old school. He uses a manila folder and puts them in a folder. I use the upload because I find it easier. Okay, let me just go in here. This is, again, you'll see here where it says level 1 completion. This is where you have to do something. When you complete all of these projects ahead, this becomes, I think it says mark for completion. You hit that button, and that's how it notifies Basecamp Manager that you've completed a level. And then it's up to that Basecamp Manager to say, oh yeah, Karen did do that. Or, wow, I don't remember Karen doing that. Maybe I should talk to Karen before I approve it. And then once that's approved, it comes back and says what you just saw, view certificate.
I get it.
Frank, you have a question or a comment?
Thank you.
I want to answer someone's question and ask about innovative planning. So let me just address that. Here you go, innovative planning. Can you see that? She asked about this first project, manage project successfully. This is from my website. So you go in here, you read what it's about. It says to form a team of 3 to 4 people and choose a project. Then you give a speech and you do the project, and then you give another speech. So you're supposed to, the purpose is for you to practice developing a plan, building a team, or fulfilling the plan with the help of your team. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's the project description.
And Ronald, I saw your question about the new platform, and I do not have information about that currently. All right. Other questions? Well, I see the red card, so I normally say to Frank, we have extra time. Get out our vacation slides because we'll show vacation slides. But I didn't even get to make that joke today because I see the red card. I want to thank you all for inviting us. It was such a thrill to be with this group, such a large group today. And if you have any questions, I know some of you are having problems with Frank's link. I've gotten a couple email addresses, and as soon as we're done, I'll send you the link directly. But if you're also still having problems, send me your email in chat so I can make sure that happens after the meeting. And with that, I'll turn it over to our presenter, our presider.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Karen Storey and distinguished Toastmaster Frank Storey. It's our privilege to listen to your combined wisdom, your search for Toastmasters and your experience. We are privileged. Thank you so much being with us. I would like to request all the Toastmasters who are here to switch on your cameras, and we will take a group photo with distinguished Toastmaster Frank and Karen. Can we do that? So let me go to the, yes. So smile, please. Let me go to the second screen. Let me go to the third screen. Thank you. Shall we give a round of applause to these two distinguished Toastmasters? So on behalf of entire team from 105, we thank for gracing our session and definitely add value. And also thank you so much for dropping the link as well as your email address. So we will definitely get in touch with you for sharing, for catching the further wisdom from you. Thank you so much. So my dear fellow Toastmasters, now it's a time to go to the second session of our Yoodli. So to take this session, we have a Toastmasters. He is a debate master and wear his argumentary. On the District 105 stage, he reached the top. And in international finalist, he never to stop. So my dear fellow Toastmasters, put your hands together to take the second segment of Yoodli today. We have a distinguished Toastmaster, Ramesh G. Over to you, Mr. Ramesh.
Thank you very much, DTM Dilip. Delightful to be here amidst you today. I know we are running late and I would try and be as quick on my words as possible. Panel 1 on Yoodli helped us know how Yoodli can help us in our professional lives. In panel 2, our experts will demonstrate how Yoodli adds value to your toast mastering experience. Where all and how all can you use this powerful tool to enhance our skill sets and thereby our confidence in public speaking. Before we deep dive into our session, may I request audience to place your questions in the chat box. I will try and relay them to the panelists, as many questions as can perhaps be taken. Rest will also be answered, but after this session as a direct message on the chat box by the panelists. Are my panelists listening? After your session is over, if there are questions that have come pertaining to you, please make sure that you respond to them. Is that all right? Perfect. Friends, one of the perpetual challenges for many clubs is the challenge of finding role players for the smooth conduct of our sessions. Am I right? Now, can Yoodli help? To know more, help me invite an engineer who envisions to live in the moment, to believe in those actions to make his future a present. A passionate supporter of gavel clubs, very sought after and dependable human being with a funny bone to make your tense moods crackle. We all saw his effervescent MC in the recently held international speech contest. To present usage of Yoodli as a role player, let's welcome Toastmaster Avade Nayakam.
Thank you very much, moderator, distinguished Toastmaster Ramesh. Indeed a pleasure. Let us, as you rightly said, deep dive into what we are here today. Just a moment. Ramesh sir, can you please tell me, today I'm not able to share. How do I go about it?
What happened, Avade? Are you
I really don't know,
some role
sir.
players to help you with?
No, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I do not have
Abray,
the
yours
role
is an
players.
important session. You can't do this, yeah. You
Sir,
have to inform the role players
can
from
we
before.
just go with the timer?
They have
We
to
will
reach the session on time. No, this is not done.
Sir, we will just manage with the timer. No, our counter
I
and
don't know. I
grammarian,
don't know. It's up to you. Do you have any tools or something that can help you with this?
Let me pull out something, sir.
Yeah, I leave it to you. I have complete confidence in you. Don't worry.
Thank you. You as the president have told me what to do, and I cannot go back on your words. This is what happens in most of our sessions, wherein our role player drops in at the last moment. What do? We either tend up to take up multiple roles and perform it to the justice what we could do. Because at times we are a speaker and also an R counter, a timer and an R counter, or a timer and a word master. So how many of those rules can we do justice? This is where Yoodli comes into play. What Toastmasters have integrated with Yoodli, it is a phenomena which has helped in this particular time, wherein we are both used to hybrid and also physical session. Now there are different scenarios on how do we go about it. Let me take you through one of the basics, that is through Zoom. Then we can talk about other things. So Yoodli, what you could do is that you can use this tool Yoodli that provides real-time and judgment-free feedback to anyone. So how do you log into it? You can either do it through toastmasters.yoodli.ai and then log in with your Toastmasters username and password, or you could also go to app.yoodli.ai, then log into. But for this, to use Yoodli as a role player, you please go through app.yoodli.ai, because the Toastmasters Yoodli version is an older version. So kindly go with the app.yoodli.ai. So what does this Yoodli help us to do as a role player? It helps us to find out the filler words. Of course, there are other things like, instant transcript, we can say. And we also have a wonderful association of Yoodli with Grammarly, which gives us what are the words that we could use and how we can do it better. Now, how do we log into Yoodli? It is pretty simple. And let me just demonstrate you how we can do it right away. First and foremost, go into not to the Toastmasters.ai for Yoodli. Go to app.yoodli and log in, under which you will have this option to go through online. And there are two modes wherein you can do it. One is through private, which I'll cover up in the later if we have time. The other one is Team Yoodli. Now in Team Yoodli, what you need to do is that just click on your Zoom link and paste it over here. I wanted to do this for this session, but our Zoom session today has got registrations. So with the registrations, it will not work. So if you want to add it in your club meetings, do not have a prior registration. Just have a normal Zoom link and then just click in your Zoom link and just click on join. It will say spinning up a fresh bot and a bot will be added. Now, once the bot is added, you can record up to 2 hours. And on the top of it, if you still want to continue, you call the bot again by clicking on it, join. That's how we enter into, we call up the Yoodli bot into our Zoom meetings. What happens then? Okay, now I've called the Yoodli app into the meeting. What happens then? What is it going to do? Let us see. So once we go into once this starts recording, here comes the most important thing. Every role player, everyone in this Zoom meeting who is speaking will have their own prescribed filler words, their pacings, and everything. In the panel one, Toastmaster Ignacio explained about what is pacing and how, eye contact and all those things. So not only the R counters or the filler words or the grammar part of it, you will also get a transcript. For impromptu speeches, when we deliver an impromptu speech, we know that these speeches can be taken it down and can be elaborated into a bigger story and a better story. So how do we go about it? If we have this Zoom bot installed, that transcript will be, you will be getting it. And from there, you can definitely start building up your speech, which can take you up levels. And as I was telling you, so what are the word choices? This is what you can, as a grammarian, it can be used. The R counters, the filler words, everything will be coming in, and there will be a stamp. And many a time, as a word master or grammarian, we might forget that these, there was some good usage of words, and we might tend to leave out. But with this Yoodli on board, it will be all easy and simply be done. Now, let me just ask you some, why do Toastmasters value so much about Yoodli? There are some very good examples and also world champion speakers like Craig, Mark Brown, Ed Tate have used this and they have benefited out of it. Next time, if you do not find a role player, please do log into Toastmasters, app.yoodli.ai and then log in. Okay, now we are in a physical meeting. How do we go about it? If you have a mobile with internet, do the same thing. Go ahead. Instead of joining it online, what you can do is that record speech. And then you can record everything what is happening in the meeting, then go about it. That's it from me. And if you find next time as a VP or the TMOD and you do not have a role player, don't bother about your president. You still have Yoodli. Thank you. Over to my president moderator, distinguished Toastmaster Ramesh.
Thank you very much. I have always thought of inviting you to my club when I was out of road players. Now that you have given me a shortcut, I'd probably avoid that. I'll call you in as a guest only, not to do a role with me. I have not seen any questions getting popped up in the chat box, but if there are any, please do so. Now that the panelist has finished it, he would be able to answer your queries directly to you. All right. But place your questions to everyone so that everyone understands what questions are being asked. It can always help others. Now that we don't have to worry any longer for the role plays in our session, let's find out if Yoodli can help us with storytelling. And to do the honors, we have yet another young at heart, passionately driven civil engineer who made one of the best sessions of DTAC better. He was the contest chair for the DTAC humorous speech contest. To help us know how we can let Yoodli tell our story, help me welcome Toastmaster J, also known as John Joseph Kino.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Ramesh, for the wonderful introduction. So can I confirm that everybody see my screen already?
Yes.
Thank you so much. So give me a second. Okay. So to the district director, district program quality director, and the team, fellow Toastmasters and guests, good evening. Before we begin with our session, let us all start from the basic. What is a story? A story is a narrative that is designed to interest, amuse, or instruct the listeners. Stories have the ability to highlight important moments and memories. They can connect you to others through empathy and shared experiences, which encourages or entices the listener's imagination. Through the delivery of effective storytelling, the audience can connect to the message of the speaker. Me, myself, I couldn't help myself to be amazed with the inspiration and the messages that speakers bring out in their speeches just by telling stories. Stories which brings colors and reaches the heart of the audience. Our session for tonight will be particular in dealing on the delivery of your speech and see how Yoodli can help you in storytelling. The first one is using body language and gestures. Our body language and gestures adds characterization and brings our stories to life. The next one is with the right use of words. Words that can easily be understood engages the audience and the stories become so real, which sometimes leads to touching the heart of the listeners. And last is the pacing. The pacing dictates the flow of the story and keeps the audience engaged. The speed of the words that we would be uttering would also vary depending on the stage of the story, whether it would be the beginning, the climax, or the ending. Now let's go on to the usage of Yoodli. First one is the usage of body language and gestures. It is an element that we need to consider in storytelling. It adds power to your delivery, and the central message can easily be interpreted. There is a feature in Yoodli where your gestures, your eye contact, your positioning, your smile, and loudness will be evaluated. Through this evaluation that Yoodli will be providing, you can be conscious of your appearance in the camera, providing appropriate gestures to your central message. And the next one is the right use of words. Our stories can also be strengthened with the right use of words. Through Yoodli, there is a feature where your word of choice is also being evaluated. All the repetitions, filler words, non-inclusiveness, top keywords, and weak words are being recognized by Yoodli. As you can see in the screen in one of my speech delivery, I was given already 42 weak words. Imagine that just in 7 minutes speech. But still, I am not discouraged telling my stories because through the program Yoodli, I was able to take note of words which would help me in delivering my stories, which I would be using in my speeches effectively. And the last one is the tone and pacing. Whenever we are delivering a story, it is another element that we need to consider. Our pace dictates the flow, as you can see, that there is also a feature as well in Yoodli where your pacing is being evaluated, whether it would be slow, conversational, or fast, which normally dictates which part of the story we are, either in the beginning, climax, or the end part. Hence, there is also a feature showing the number of words per minute, which we can apply whenever we are preparing our speech. Given the required time frame that we are allowed to speak, for example, we are given 7 minutes to speak. The number of words will depend on the required pacing of your speech. Usually, whenever I'm writing a speech, I always aim in drafting 120 to 150 words per minute. It's on the top. And next is, now we've seen how Yoodli can help us in delivering our stories. Through the aid of Yoodli, whenever we are delivering a story, it would give us an opportunity to learn from another person's experience. And it can shape, strengthen, or challenge our opinions and values of the speech, since stories appeal to our senses and our emotions, but also leaving an impact to us audiences. Because according to Steve Jobs, the most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, the values, and agenda of an entire generation that is to come. That ends my presentation. Thank you for this invitation to present my experience with Yoodli. Should you require further clarification and assistance, please do not hesitate to ask me. I'll be more than glad to share to you with my experience with Yoodli. Thank you, and over to you.
Oh, that was so short, sweet, and absolutely crisp to the point. I feel I must start the aspect of developing my stories with Yoodli. Thank you very much for such an amazing presentation, Jay. It was really, really an eye-opener to a lot of us. Brilliant. Friends, I am out and out a sales guy, and everybody knows that. So if someone helps me with tools to sell better, I would leap at it. Now, Toastmastering here is at its end. Club Growth Director, district officials, Toastmaster International are dangling so many carrots to motivate us to get more members. Can Yoodli help? Brilliant, isn't it? If that can happen. Let us ask the pharmacist amidst us if he has a magic drug for that. The lead reviewer of Tamil Translation Committee of Toastmasters International, a revered and a truly distinguished Toastmaster in the fraternity and an avid cricketer. Help me welcome a friend for all with the presentation titled Yoodli to Prospective Members. Distinguished Toastmaster Navanitha Krishnan.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, distinguished Toastmaster Ramesh, and all the members of District 105, leaders and distinguished guests. Yoodli for prospective members. May I request all the members to post one good reason why you joined Toastmasters. After your first visit as a guest, what made you to join Toastmasters? You can put in the chat. Yeah. Thank you, Audi Nagam. Education session. Because of someone influenced you. Stage fear. To get away from my wife. Fantastic. So you can get weird reasons why you have joined. For me personally, when I visited my first club, Kimchi Toastmasters, during the break, a mouth-watering snacks was served. I asked, how frequent do you meet? They said every week. Then give me the application, I join. It's not to just laugh alone. Our founder, Ralph C. Smedley, said, we learn in the moments of enjoyment. Life is all we have to learn. At the same time, we need to enjoy, right? So you would have heard from all the speakers, all the panelists, how can we enhance our interview? How can we enhance our storytelling? How can we do better in our speech crafting? All sort of things. Now we are going to see how better we can enjoy our Toastmaster session using Yoodli. You all know that when you just log in into Toastmasters, just scroll down, you will find a place for Yoodli. So you can analyze all your speeches with this artificial intelligence tool, a prompt engineering tool, which can help you to not only develop your speeches, but you can also enjoy whatever you are learning during your Toastmasters session. Now we are going to focus more about how Yoodli can be helpful for our prospective members, right? This is a real-time feedback and analysis tool. One most important thing is that there is no judgment involved in it. And it gives us a tailored recommendation, give us specific points. All these things are, yes, we are learning. So now we are coming to the games part. So if you open Yoodli, you have an option apart from home and library tab, there's a games tab. It's a game, but you will enjoy at the time you can learn as well. So the first game is no filler. So there is an option to add filler words. You can add only one filler word like which you use frequently like somehow, and plus when you add, even you can add 10, 15 filler words. And once you start playing, you can fix the time. And then you have to speak. When you speak without filler word, you will get bonus points. When you use that filler word, you will get -2 points. At the end of the game, how much point you scored, that will be displayed over there. And you can add it in the leaderboard and you can compete with your club members, even any member all over the world using this Yoodli leaderboard also you can play. That is no filler. So you can use this, and next time when you present your speech, you can be an expert speaker with lesser filler words. That is one interesting game. Then another interesting game is spin on. This is one interesting word. Even it says that when you play this game, what are the things you can develop? For example, here you can develop your articulation. How can you structure your speech? How can you use your lateral thinking? So when you start playing this game, how you will develop? So for example, we said about the filler words and add more I added, and I kept the timing only 1 minute. You can use the timing up to 3 minutes also, and you can use further. And at the end, you see, I use 0 filler words and I scored 80. But probably you may score more than that. If you add more filler words, then challenge yourself, how better you are. Then the second game is spin a yarn. When you play this game, you can set the levels easy, medium, hard, and monster level. And timing minimum half minute up to 3 minutes. And in this game, you can switch on your video, you can record yourself, and you can share it with your friends as well. So you can play this game, and it prompts, you can play with this game, it prompts like some words, and you must use those words. And you can select the number of words as well. So all these things you can do with spin a yarn game. And then there is another game called using metaphors, Metaphor Mania. For example, it will appear a rubber duck is like a speeding ticket because. So you have to use your metaphor to answer this. Playing chess is like a waterfall because. So how creative you are, how creative thinking, and how fast you can use these metaphors. So all these things you can really play, and also you can share your scores with your friends, and you can play as a game, and you can enhance your vocabulary. You can also really enjoy doing these things. And not only that, when you're using Yoodli, if you're benefited, just add the email ID of your friend and share it. If any of your members attending your club session as prospective members or a guest, just collect their email ID, put their email ID and invite via email, or you can copy a link and paste it in WhatsApp or any other social media, you can put it them, and then let the person also sign in, and they can also play these games. Just after entering the games, they know the importance of using the filler words, using all of the techniques, and then they will be interested. Some or other attractive things will make a guest to turn into a member. So this is one kind of tool which can really help. So overall, to conclude, Yoodli is an excellent tool with non-judgmental environment. It gives us the instant feedback and also the focused, accurate feedback. And also it gives personalized recommendation for every time when you record. One good thing, it's having unlimited practice. Someone asked, is there any limit for storage? No, there is unlimited practice. And since it can be downloaded on any device, it can be accessible anywhere, anytime, at any devices. And it also have the diverse learning resources. Most importantly, in a Toastmaster session evaluation, it is having the objective evaluation. For example, if you want to enhance your storytelling, you can use that. If you want to reduce your filler words, you can use that. If you want to increase your vocabulary, you can use this one. And the final point is the most important point, that is the cost-effective solution. Because if you want to download the other version of Yoodli, you may need to pay for it, the premium versions. But if you are a member of Toastmasters International, just be a member. We will give an additional feather on top of your cap, that is Yoodli free of cost to all the members. Thank you, and over to the moderator.
Thank you very much, DTM Navneeta. I am totally sold. And I'm sure I'll make it easy for my VP membership to use this to sell the program and make it closer to the non-Toastmasters as much as possible. Thank you very much. Friends, I'm sure I do not have to really say this, but I must. All our panelists have done an amazing job. Not just that they are thorough with what they were talking about, they simplified it so much that it made it appear as if, really, is that all there is to it? But believe me, there is so much to it. Friends, we can take the horse to the pond, they say, but we can't make the horse drink. District 105 PQD team has brought the pond to you. All you have to do is dip your head and drink. That is the sum and substance of today's program, where we had an entire discourse on several aspects, the professional, the Toastmastering aspect of Yoodli, and of course, the mind-blowing stuff that the Pathway ambassadors delivered to us. And with this, I would take your permission to give it back to our charming PQD, Deepa Surendran.
Thank you. Thank you very much, distinguished Toastmaster Ramesh and his team of panelists. Thank you very much. Now, my job over here is, as distinguished Toastmaster Ramesh just mentioned, whatever we were supposed to do, we have done. Maybe we could have done it better by arranging or organizing little more interactive sessions or venue-based education sessions, but we will do that in future for sure. So now today, let me thank all those Toastmasters, distinguished Toastmasters who helped us conduct this session in an amazing manner. First of all, let me thank our administration manager, Toastmaster Sudha, who arranged a registration-based Zoom account and helped us to start the meeting on time, record the meeting, everything related to the technological side. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Sudha. Now, arranging a session is ready, but reaching to maximum number of people or the members are not very easy. We have a volunteer Toastmaster, Toastmaster Alexander, who shared this particular invite to 46 different Toastmaster country groups. And thank you very much, Toastmaster Alexander. And in addition, all of our Toastmasters who shared this particular information about this particular event to their counterparts, friends and relatives and other Toastmasters. Thank you very much from our bottom of our hearts. Now, what to say about the Pathways segment? Distinguished Toastmaster Karen and Distinguished Toastmaster Frank Storey. Thank you very much. And Toastmaster Dilip for coordinating with them. When we got to know about these amazing Pathways ambassadors, we just mentioned to Dilip, please connect with them. If at all possible, if whenever they are convenient, let's invite them. And he was communicating with them. Initially, we thought to have the session in February, but then they agreed to conduct it in this month of June. We didn't want to miss this opportunity to welcome distinguished Toastmasters Karen and Frank over here in District 105 in our term itself. Thank you very much for coming over and sharing all those wisdom. Thank you. Now, related to Yoodli, we had our first session on Yoodli during our DTAC in May, and then many asked us why, as PQDs, we are not conducting a separate session using our own experts, our own members from District 105. And that's the reason we planned for this particular session on Yoodli with our own members, experts, including Toastmaster Elna, Toastmaster Inesio, and Toastmaster Jalil, who won the championship, area level championship, before giving the icebreaker session. And the first panel was moderated by distinguished Toastmaster Anuradha. Thank you very much, panel 1. Then second panel, the most vivid manner they have presented Yoodli in front of us. Thank you very much, distinguished Toastmaster Ramesh, distinguished Toastmaster Navneeta, Avadai, and John. It was brilliant. Now, without a timer, she is already showing green to me. Remember me. Toastmaster Preeti, our area director-elect, Toastmaster Preeti Kapil, thank you very much for guiding us on time. And our shoot master, Toastmaster Dilip, and Zoom masters, distinguished Toastmaster Navneeta, Avadai, distinguished Toastmaster Jamil, and myself for managing the Zoom behind the screen. And thank you all the learners for coming over, attending this session. Without you all sitting over here listening to our presenters, it may not be a successful event. Thank you very much. And with that, with the power vested in me, I'm closing this session. Thank you very much and good night. Happy driving back home.
Good night. Good night.
Night. Take care.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you, PQD team, for arranging this wonderful event. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you all.
Thank you, DTM Navneeta.
You were late for your dinner by 20 minutes.
Yes. Yeah, that is one thing I didn't want to mention.
All right. All the very best. It was delightful. Thank
Good
you very
session. Yeah. Very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What is the way to
Bye.
get the access to the recording? A lot of my members are asking me who have not
Yeah,
been
we will
able to
upload.